I want to start off by welcoming you to Wonder Woman in Business, episode number 8. It's exciting to be here. And I just want to give, for those of you that are actually on Facebook Live, watching and listening to us right now, I want to give you a little bit of a background on Wonder Woman in Business before I introduce this Wonder Woman today. So Wonder Woman in Business is a podcast series that's really intended to bring together leaders, female leaders in different industries, cross industry, to provide their best practices and advice to aspiring, what I call Wonder Woman in Business, primarily female entrepreneurs. I'm your host. My name is Jasmine Sandler, and I've been helping women in business for many years, cross events and programs, and now this is really all being delivered through Wonder Women in Business and the brand new conference, which we will talk about today. And Randi was actually my initial trial guest before we really ever rolled this off the ground. So she's been waiting in the wings to be on. I really thank you, Randi, for waiting so long to be in the wings on the podcast today. And Randi brings a lot to the table. I have seen her speak several times. She really is a powerhouse in what she does. So I wanted to give a quick snippet, Randi, of what I think is a good kind of like quick introduction to you. And then of course, if you have more to bring on, please do so. So Randi Levin, again, I'm very pleased to have her on today. She is a transformational life coach and keynote speaker, and she really drives impact across female executives that are in transition onto their next thing, as well as, I would say, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, female entrepreneurs, which at many times have very hard choices to make, hard decisions to make. Sometimes we, and I'm definitely in that bucket because I'm a female entrepreneur, don't have the actual support system on the day-to-day life of being a female entrepreneur. And so Randi is really that comfort zone that brings that to the table. And she's been, and besides helping as a coach, she's a keynote speaker. And again, her story has been covered across major media, including CBS, Wall Street Journal, and so on. So thank you, Randi, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. So great to be back.
Yes, back again. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to start out actually by you talking a little bit about what it means to be a transformational coach to women. Can you define that for us?
Okay. So the way that I define that is that we're always in transition, and we're supposed to be. And we tell ourselves a lot of stories, a lot of things we wish would be, could be, should have been. And we play that out in our heads and we get caught up in that. And so I come in as a catalyst around that energy, really looking to change how we define success, how we define how we lead, how we define how we age, so that we can look back in and really take control of the moment so we can make those choices and decisions. Choices and decisions are key words here. Choices and decisions that really impact the life we want. So we're not just setting goals and putting them out there, we're really going after them mindfully so that they create that legacy that we want. And that's personal and professional. So I work with women founders, emerging entrepreneurs, women in transition to really help them close that gap, really get in alignment with who they are right now so they can step into that with all the power of a Wonder Woman.
I love it. So can you give us maybe an example? You don't have to give a name or anything, or you can.
I'm going to give everybody's names away right now.
You can, but I just want to understand a little bit more about what that looks like, especially in how they come to, how can they say, hey, I'm ready? And what does that look like? And what's maybe a common reason for doing so on their end?
Yeah. There's all different reasons, and everyone is unique when they come into coaching space. It's a matter of an awareness of being ready to take a next step, be ready to get past fear, because it's something that is holding us back, and to explore that a little bit so that they can really, shift their energy, shift their perspective around something. So one of the things that comes up a lot in the entrepreneurial founder space in particular is our abilities to make choices and decisions. Remember I said that's coming back. It's really important. And if we're in a corporate sector, our choices and decisions very often are made for us, made to us in some way, or lay out in a particular linear way.
Mm.
When we enter this world of the unknown, which it really is, what could be unknown than being an entrepreneur? Really, it's an up and down roller coaster all the time. We don't necessarily know what those choices are. You know, we kind of talk about it like third person, like it's happening to somebody else. And so I will very often be saying, almost constantly, to audiences, to clients, so you're the CEO. You're the one who's in charge.
Yeah.
What's the decision you're going to make? You're like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't need to be working 7 days a week, or I don't need to be doing this by myself, or I could get that intern, or I could not work with that client that is driving me crazy. That's a choice, you know.
Absolutely, it's a choice.
Space to make that choice. So very often, sometimes it's that simplistic. It's about changing the language around how we choose what we do. And I think that's one of the best places any coach can come in and really assist in building out what's next for somebody, is being able to make choices and get past that fear a little bit so that we can do the things we say we really want to do that are most important.
So I want to stick on that point for just a second. So when you make a choice, I'm a big studier, I guess, ever since I was little, in psychology and philosophy. And, you know, so when you make a choice, you have many options. Sometimes you have thousands of options.
Limitless.
Sometimes it's unless it's like simple as, you know, vanilla and chocolate ice cream, which usually it is not, which would be nice.
Chips, so I would just throw that on.
I just mix them together personally, but anyway, so no, seriously. So, you know, because a woman has a female entrepreneur has so many choices, maybe at any given moment, is there a certain horizon point that you suggest that they stick to in terms of, you know, like I do strategic planning, right? The part of what we do in life, is it sticking to a specific goal that keeps them going forward to make decision A or B, or is it, just talk a little bit about that, because I really feel like that's
okay. So
a critical piece of what you do.
My own take on it and how I work with people, and I don't want to say that we're not setting goals, because of course we're setting goals. We have to have goals. Goals are out in the future, okay? They're out there with our bucket list and our New Year's resolutions and all the things we've ever wanted in life. We're not in the future yet. We're in today. So really important to bring those choices back to the moment. Not that you don't have the vision. You want to have that vision and that path, but you want to bring it back to things that are actionable now, so that you're not just waiting on something to happen. Or saying, oh, when all these things line up, when I have the money, when my kids don't need me, when the stars are aligned, I'm going to do this. What can you do now? What little piece of that can you take forward? So you want to be mindful of the goal, but you want to be flexible to pivot, to change, and to make choices that allow your life to flow, the business to flow. Because it's not static. It's not static, right? And if we're
it's not.
It's that goal. I got to get to that goal. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to get so frustrated. The chances of you getting to that goal are just diminished dramatically. Okay. So if you want to stay really on track, if you would, the best thing to do is to know that the track isn't going to be straight. You got to allow for that a little bit. You got to step into the pivots. Where are you getting the success? Where can you lean more into that success? Where can you bring more of what makes you smile into your life, personally and professionally? You know, be mindful of that energy and where you use it. That's your passion.
Yeah, I love that. I think it is really important to focus on what's going well, right? Is kind of what part of what you're saying.
What do? We focus on what didn't go well, usually.
Right.
Didn't happen, didn't go the way we wanted it to, didn't work out for us. You know, the things somebody else said, and we get all angry about whatever.
Of course, yeah.
Concentrate on the things that did go well. Where can you put all of that together and say, success, wins, how do I get more? Where do I lean into more? Where can I do more of this?
Love it. Yeah. And do you think that also is important? Do you kind of coach your clients around how they align that with things that they enjoy as well?
Absolutely.
Because I really feel like that's the positive energy spark, yeah?
It is. And you have lots of wonderful things that you enjoy outside of the business realm.
Are you kidding me? Yes.
You bring those in to everything you do. It gives you that, it gives you that grit. It gives you that space and that reason to be. It's all part of purpose. Purpose isn't only about business or only about who you are as a woman. It's the combination of it's all of those components about So when you're pulling all that together and you're working all of it,
yeah,
see where you're growing, see where you can do more of that. So
yeah. Okay, got it. All right. So talk a little bit about how, because I've had some really, including you, great women on this podcast. Like, it's funny, I was talking to a friend the other day about this, and they said, oh, you must have to talk a lot and ask a lot of questions. I was like, really? These people are all Wonder Women? I just sometimes sit here and listen. So it's great, you know, I mean, and so my point is, you know, all the women on the podcast have come from really amazing backgrounds, and I'm just impressed on their journeys, and that's what intrigues me. So talk to us a little bit about how you got to where you are today in your journey in getting here.
Okay. So I am going to do that. I spent the better part of 2 decades in corporate America in fashion, buying, and merchandising. Stepped off of that corporate track to raise my children. And I thought it was going to be a short interlude, and I was going to, you know, go back to something else. One kid became 2 kids, 1 year became many years. And then a big birthday was coming, and I kind of got caught in all of this and thought, okay, what's next? But there's a piece of this I want to explain for a second. And sometimes we live out some of the limiting beliefs that don't even belong to us. And it's really important to be aware of that. And I had something happen in college as I was going into senior year of college, and people were all starting to decide what they were going to do. They're going to go to grad school, you know, this or that. And I said, hey, maybe I should go to grad school. I know I want to be a buyer. I want to do all this. Maybe I should go to grad school. And I called up my father, a man who was born in the 1920s and lived through the war, a different generation. This was the 1980s. Called up my dad and I said, hey, you know, I really think maybe I should go to grad school. You know, I'll never go back. This is like the thing. I need to do it now. And he said to me, and I quote, I need to do that. You're going to meet a guy. You're going to get married.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you're going to have kids.
Yeah.
And I said, are you crazy? I just ignored it. And he said a couple of times, lo and behold, I didn't go to grad school. I went into the corporate world, worked my way up, did all of that stuff. But what did I also do? I met the guy. I got married. I had kids. And somewhere in that limiting belief, I thought for a very long time that I couldn't do this and that well. I could only do this or that. And it's when I understood the power of the word and, everything shifted.
Oh, I love it.
And I coach women around the possibilities, the opportunities that exist on the other side of and. You're doing this, and what else can you do?
Right. Well, it's funny that you say, I love it, Randi, and I applaud you. Really, no, seriously, because there is, and that's, you just kind of typified the Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's all about. And a Wonder Woman can have a negative or a positive connotation, right? So to do everything doesn't mean do everything for everyone else.
Exactly. Or do everything. But there's more than the thing that's in front of you. You're much more capable of that. I knew that. But I had to get to a point that I said, okay. And so I reinvented myself. And I knew I wanted to help women and support women. I knew I wanted a platform to speak. I wanted a platform to do podcasts, to write, to be quoted, to bring meaning back. Legacy is what was important to me, but defined in the moment. And so I thought I was going to go back, get my MSW, and I started looking at it. It popped up, and I said, "Ooh, that's it." And I went back and I got certified. And the woman on the other end of the phone at iPad Coaching said to me, as she took my credit card, "Just start." And I remember getting off the phone, Jasmine, and saying, "What do you mean, just start? No one can believe this." But that again is that wonder of, okay, what can I do? What can I bring into this moment that may not even make any sense? How do I begin? And it's all of that I bring into all of what I coach with women is, yes, there are always things that you can do, even when you don't know the first thing about what you're doing, even when you're starting. You know, there's always those action steps. Keep going.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because women are more resilient than they think they are. And I think women are more, I don't know how to explain it, but more elastic than they think they are. They can stretch into things that they don't necessarily think that they can do. But at the end of the day, women are naturally born as, I wouldn't say multitaskers, but very strong creatures that do a lot of things, right?
And I think for most of us, we can see a bigger picture. We see the long range and the short range, which not, you know, then I don't think as much.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think there's a lot there, and we need to give ourselves credit for that.
Oh, absolutely.
That goes back to what we were talking about with successes and honoring success, and you know, knowing that you got it, and that you can make that happen. You just have to stick with it.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about what you talked quite a bit about what you're doing and how you're helping women. So do you have some of my guests have said yes to this and some have said no, but do you have a specific mission for what you're doing at the end of the day?
Well, the mission to me is my own why, my own purpose, and really kind of my broken down niche, I guess, to the smallest possible denominator. It's all about legacy. And I define legacy not necessarily as the thing we're leaving behind, Jasmine. Not that thing our ancestors are going to say, oh, she did this.
Yeah, that's right.
And taking that out of the future, dropping it in the current day and saying, how can I be legend right now?
Yeah.
I can be legendary. Remembered for something, important in something, commit to something, collaborate on something. Where can I make a difference? And so when you bring that energy into the moment, magically, all those things start to happen and start to become available to you. The universe.
Yeah, I mean, it's all energy, right? And so it's all energy. And it's funny because right behind me on the computer here, I have a piece of paper. I did a Tony Robbins seminar years ago. And I had this little piece of paper, and number one thing talks about how I want to drive impact. And I feel that a lot of people, if you just think about delivering impact on something outside of yourself, you might drive little bits of impact all along the way, right? That might not be so surface, but they're important, right? So
it's like a smile. It's like smiling at somebody, and then even if they're in a bad mood, they sort of smile back.
That is true.
It kind of... So, you kind of want to light that up and light up that path with the things.
Yeah. So talk to us about a specific example of a concrete change that you've seen in somebody that you've worked with, from A to just, starting with somebody, where did they come from? What were the results? That's important.
Different kinds of results, but I think the biggest result is really helping somebody who is stepping out of corporate or stepping out of not working for a while and back into the job market, to their own space, really getting to know what it is that they want to build out, build it out, to see them be recognized on media, to see them be recognized in print, to see them be recognized on stage. So I've had people who haven't done any of that, who working together, all those things are clicking and happening and showing for them. We've redefined. I worked with many coaches as well who start out saying, oh, I want to be a coach and whatever, and we break it down to what you really want to be doing. And so now they're shooting from a whole different point of view, and working very differently toward what they most want. They're really in alignment with what they want. I've had clients on a whole nother level who had gastric bypass and lost 160 pounds and looked in the mirror and said, I'm not really sure who she is.
Yeah.
Define that and redefine that. So it's been across the board. I've had people who went to grad school to be lawyers or do different things, and of course now, midlife, are deciding not so much. So finding what that is, really stepping into the next chapter, being able to pivot. And it's scary. It's the unknown.
Of course, yeah.
To have somebody who's going to support you in that.
Support and guidance, and that's extremely important, especially with female entrepreneurs, right? Especially, or female executives that have left a solid job and a solid senior. I deal with them all the time. Solid senior position.
Do the right thing. Did I not do the right thing? Am I going to make it in this? What if I don't like, working on my own? What if I don't make any money? What if I'm not a success? Those things that come to mind. So we want to, take that down a few notches so that you can actually see what that can be. And you're building. The foundation you're setting, building upon it. And that's the beauty, I think, of this space, for women in particular, is that it can be whatever you want it to be. You just have to allow for that. Allow it.
Absolutely. So do you have maybe one or two bits of advice that you could give to I would say most of my audience are strong female entrepreneurs that have been entrepreneurs for quite a while, or are executives leading some type of women's initiative internally and are trying to make a difference.
Right.
Any type of advice you can give that, you know, you see helps women get to that next step? One or two pieces of advice?
Yes, one in particular, be curious.
Okay.
Really important. So we want to ask questions around us and not be afraid to ask those questions, but we also want to ask questions of ourselves. Forget about that. So we want to be really in the moment, because what that does is it allows us to focus on what we're working on, less about what was, less about what we want tomorrow, but more about what we want today. It brings a lot of abundance in, a lot of focus into what we're doing, a lot of gratitude into what we're doing. And when we feel grateful and abundant and in the moment and more fulfilled, guess what else happens? We're less fearful.
Right.
And it takes it off the table because we're focused, our energy is where it needs to be. So one of the greatest gifts I can give anybody is that idea of being curious about the world around you, about connection, about what next step you can take, about what people are saying, and never get to a point that you feel like you know it all, right? So you want to always be learning. It's a lifelong project. So that's a major one. And also take the lead. So we think about leadership very often as how we lead others, our team, right? Where we're going to grow them out, or where we're going to look for help in something. Here's how all that starts. You lead
internally. Yeah.
You lead you. Single longest relationship you're ever going to have. And so the moment we start to really take that seriously is when we start to be able to lead from the inside out rather than the inside in. And it's a big shift, big shift in mindset, big shift in getting things done and feeling confident and behind it. So those two are huge. And then my absolute favorite is not to be fearless, but to fear less. 2 words. Fear less.
I like that.
Because your fears are going to be part of you. If you were to interview Wonder Woman right now, she would tell you she has.
It's not like I haven't called her.
There you go.
She's next. I'm hoping it's like 9.
She has fear. She wears that cape. She feels she has to put the cape on.
Right.
Whatever. But she's got them also. But how do you fear less? How do you step into that space where something's stopping you and know that, okay, I see you, fear. I get it. I've named you, called you out, but I'm doing this anyway. I'm going to do this piece. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think those 3, I love those 3 bits of advice. And I think they are actually continuous, because if I string them together, if you're focused on the present and you're curious about where you want to go, or, you know, what's the right decision to, then you have an open mind. In my traditional days in corporate, I would call that working on the business, or working on P&L. We actually used to do at IBM.
Yeah.
And then I think the second part, you know, the part about being confident is so important, and being a leader in your own right? With yourself first. Obviously, you have to have confidence and leadership to be able to do that.
And then control that. It can control the things you want versus having it happen to you. You're, you know, at the helm.
Right. And then the part about fearing less, I mean, if you don't fear things, you're not human. So that's how we're built. But I love that, Randi, fear less, because because fear is, at the end of the day, what stops everybody from everyone. I don't care who you are, doesn't matter.
Not identifying it as such, that's it. That's where you're in that hole and not moving forward on something.
Absolutely. And I also think that with the fear piece of it, I always think that that's a good, again, I studied a lot of psychology. I think that the fear piece of it is a good signal in a weird way, right? So if you're fearful of, I don't know, stepping out of your role as an executive and starting a business, or if you're fearful of, like I always tell people, investing money in marketing for your business, maybe you should be doing these things, because maybe that's what's going to get you to the next level. Or maybe it could be something as simple as just, you know, going to a meeting, you know, these little things, because they can catapult, correct?
Absolutely right. You need to pay attention to those little red flags, because that's usually where something's bubbling and where you can go in and really make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am excited to talk about Brand You a little bit here. And so I want to talk about it a little bit, and I want to let everybody know that that's one of the things coming up, but that I'm going to engage Randi in for this audience. I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to know a little bit more about like day to day, or let's say in the next fall calendar. What do you have coming up in terms of your events, speaking engagements, maybe training programs that people could get a sneak peek into?
So I have a workshop that I'm doing in New York City at Luminary in September 17th from 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
It's called Redefining the Leader Within. So to my point before of leadership starting inside, we take a deep dive look at purpose and understanding how you lead you so that you can lead others in all that you do, that personally and professionally. Think about that. We don't just lead in business. And that is on the 17th from 6 to 8 at Luminary. And yeah, so I have some things on my website at randilevincoaching.com that are program-based that are available. And you can find me there as well. Hit that Let's Talk tab and open a conversation as well on my calendar. So I invite that in.
Perfect. So yeah, so I think, so you said September 17th, right, at Luminary. We're all involved with, I'm involved with Luminary. So Luminary, for those of you that don't know, is one of the now many, which I think is it's so fantastic, all women's co-working spaces. I'm a member. I'm also involved with some other groups, and it's a great way for women to connect and support each other. And Randi will be speaking, you said September 17th, 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., right? So that's one thing. Her website, randilevincoaching.com.
On my website. So starting tomorrow. Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. So, and then the next piece is that, so I have asked Randi to be a speaker for those of you that attended last year's Brand New conference or have received the many emails from me about Brand New 2020. I've asked Randi to be a speaker. I think she's perfect to help educate women on just what we're talking about today, how you can become a Wonder Woman, how you can make the right choices, how you can own that. You talked about accountability, you talked about internal leadership today. I think that that's super important. So Brand New 2020 is positioned for March 2020, venue to be determined by August 15th. But I've asked Randi to be involved with that. So for those of you that are on the Wonder Woman in Business newsletter series, you will receive more announcements on that. And I do encourage you to reach out to Randi. Again, I've seen her speak. I know Randi well. She's amazing at randilevincoaching.com, as well as checking her out at Luminary. Do you have anything else you want to add, Randi, before we close out the show today?
No, I do have a free offer for your audience. I have a Now Is Your New Next Leadership Challenge. And it's a do-it-yourself leadership challenge that you jump in and there's 52 cues for you to take actionable commitments and actually get stuff done. And that's available at randilevincoaching.com/leadership.
/leadership. That's very generous of you. And it's always a good way to get kind of started, right? To get to know you.
Exactly.
That's always the first step.
Exactly. And actually taking some step to do something that will help you to move forward.
Right. You have, like Randi was talking about, you have to start. You have to start
with it
to get moving. And you'll hear more about that from Randi on September 17th, as well as at Brand New. And hopefully you'll reach out to her and take advantage of her offer. So Randi, I want to really thank you for being on today.
Thank you, Jasmine. It was great.
You're welcome. And I will be seeing you soon also at Luminary, and look forward to you helping the whole Wonder Women audience.
Can't wait. Looking forward. It's going to be tremendous.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.